Hey, hey, hey! It's AAA Wednesday. In these Ask Alyssa Anything sessions, I am answering questions that you submitted about the book publishing industry or how to write a better story. Thank you so much to everyone who is watching these sessions, asking me questions, leaving comments. Keep it up because I'm really enjoying getting to speak to your concerns more directly and candidly. Shout out to all of my incredible and amazing YouTube subscribers. This community keeps growing and growing, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. If you're watching but haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I promise you won't regret it because this is an incredible community of writers that we've built. While you're down there, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button because it helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And while you're down there, scroll down into the description and grab your free story self-assessment worksheet. This is a resource I designed for anyone in my YouTube community who has a current work in progress and needs to sort out what is working well and what could be improved in it. It's going to help you diagnose issues in your manuscript and pull out potential strengths in it. Downloading that is going to sign you up for my newsletter where I publish exclusive interviews with publishing industry professionals and successfully published authors, so you don't want to miss out on all of the great insights they are giving as well. Let's kick off with the first question today. Hi Alyssa, I'm writing about my story that I'm afraid no one will read. I'm not even sure what genre it's in. So I think what this question really comes down to is, who are you writing for? If you feel compelled to tell this story, it's in your brain and it's itching to come out, write the story. Don't care about what the genre is at this point. Don't care if anyone's ever going to read it. Write it for yourself if you feel compelled to. And remember that even if no one ever reads this story, you are a stronger writer for working on it and finishing it. And then all of those skills that you learned in the process of crafting this story for yourself is then going to inform all of your future stories, which might have many readers, right? So I want you to sit down and think, do I want to write this story for me? First and foremost, no matter if you're writing for yourself or for your friends and family or for millions of readers, every author has to first and foremost write for them, right? You have to feel that self-motivation because that's what's going to get you through and get you to put the story on the page. Without that internal motivation, it's going to be very challenging for you to complete the story. So if you feel that internal motivation, just get the story out and worry about the rest later. Here's another question. I was just wondering, when your agent sells international rights for your book, how does that work editing-wise? Will the international publisher wait for you to finish edits with the American publisher, or will they have their own team look at it? Is it possible to sell international rights before selling rights in the American industry? And if so, how does that work? International publishing is really an interesting aspect of working with a literary agent and working with a traditional publishing house. And I have another video that goes into it a bit more. So in my experience, the international deals would always be made after the English language initial deal was made, whether that is with a US publishing house or a UK publishing house. Once that deal is done, then if the agent has retained foreign rights, because remember, sometimes in a book deal, the publishing house will actually also buy the international rights because publishing houses have their own foreign rights teams that can sell rights as well. So first, that initial deal has to be done for the English language initial version of the book. And then once those rights have been sorted out and who's going to receive the foreign rights is sorted out, then the literary agent or the publishing house can go and make deals with foreign publishers. In my experience, the foreign publishers always waited for the manuscript to be complete before taking the steps with their publication process. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to publish the book verbatim as it is just translated from the English version. They might want some localization aspects added to it. They might even want some editorial changes depending on the audience, and you would have to look into your specific contract with the other publishing house to see what editorial capacity they have, but they will at a minimum translate the book and localize it for their market. And that would be done on the complete manuscript after it is ready to go with your main publishing house. I have another video that goes into more about international publishing, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. Here's another question. My question is, how much do published short stories help with agents? Right now, the short story market, at least in fantasy, is most open to Drabble, 100-word stories, and Flash. Do these carry any weight? So it's certainly not going to hurt if you have a published short story that you can mention in your author bio in your query letter. That shows the literary agent a few things. A, you take your writing seriously, you've committed time to creating that story and then sending it out to literary magazines and then working with the magazine to get it published. And B, it does show that someone saw value in you as a storyteller and they validated your writing ability in a certain way, right? Because there is a implied curation aspect to a literary journal or a magazine. So that's why it can boost your author bio a bit when you are reaching out to literary agents if you do have some type of short story publication. And by the way, that would go for flash fiction just the same as it goes for longer short stories or novellas. That said, do not spend your time writing short stories or flash and submitting them if you do not feel compelled to do so. If that does not interest you, just don't even worry about it. It is almost a whole other beast entirely, and frankly, that is going to take you away from your work on your novel or your next novel. So I only would encourage you to work on short stories if you like that form, if you enjoy deploying your writing in that way, and you enjoy submitting to literary agents and journals. Because at the end of the day, if a literary agent is reading your query letter and they love your book, it is not going to make a difference if you've had a publication or two if you haven't, right? But it can be the cherry on top of something they already like. So think of it that way. We have time for one more question today. Let's say that I finished a book and I'm pitching it to an agent. I tell the agent in the query letter that I've had some beta readers for this finished book. Now, do agents care enough about the reader reports of beta readers that they would also read the reports along with the sample pages? So it's not standard for you to include beta reader reports in your query to a literary agent, and you don't even necessarily need to mention that you had beta readers at all. The reason being is that the agent doesn't have any context for who these beta readers were or their credentials, so their opinions frankly aren't really going to hold that much weight to the literary agent. The literary agent really is going to evaluate the work for themselves, so you don't need to include any of your beta feedback in your query letter. Now, it can be very helpful to work with beta readers, so it's great that you did that before querying, but it's not necessary to bring up for the purposes of the query itself. Thanks so much for everyone who submitted questions. If you have something you'd like to ask, drop it in the comments here and it will be added to my queue. I can't wait to hear what's on your mind. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, grab your free story self-assessment worksheet, and check out my newsletter in the description below. Thanks so much for watching and happy writing.